So there's something quite exhilarating about these conditions. Something that really makes you kind of feel alive, although it can be a bit painful. So I'm at the port of Scrabster near Thurso on the far north coast of Scotland, and I'm normally here to catch the ferry over to Orkney. It's somewhere that I pass through. I don't spend much time here. So today all the ferries are cancelled. The weather conditions are adverse. There's no sailings. So it's time to explore this landscape. So I'm now rounding the corner to the open Pentland Firth, and things are starting to get really interesting. I absolutely love weather like this, a bit of drama in the landscape, a bit of movement, a bit of animation. There's something, for me, quite essential about this. Elemental. People throughout time have experienced these kinds of conditions. I'm going to see what I can capture. Whoa, that was a bit of a gust. I've only ever seen these cliffs from the ferry heading out from Scrabster to Orkney, and it's absolutely fantastic to see them a little closer. And in conditions like this, they really become alive. There are these large rolling waves coming in, and the waves are going up, in some cases as tall as the cliffs themselves. You have to be incredibly careful when walking here. The cliffs are riddled with holes cut and carved by the sea. There are some quite extraordinary effects here at the coastline, like these blowholes. They're incredibly dangerous, but also incredibly spectacular. They're just literally fissures that drop vertically through the cliffs, some depth into the sea. And when the weather's rough like this, and the waves hit at the right angle, seawater, blows up out of the hole, sometimes in a great fountain of water. And it's quite peculiar, because water is effectively going up into the air. It's like the opposite of a waterfall. One thing that's long interested me about this northeastern coastline is the architectural qualities of the geology and the way it forms these straight-sided rifts and chasms. Then in this case, a kind of rock ridge with a window looking through to the boiling sea beyond. It's kind of interesting thinking about coastal features like this in relation to the architecture of Neolithic monuments with their horizontal bands of stonework, the passages leading into chambered cairns. And just like there are features here that are reminiscent of Neolithic chambered cairns, so there are others which recall, at least in spirit of some kind, standing stones, monoliths. And what's rather nice is that in this rather incredible weather, as the spray rises, it's creating optical effects, it's creating rainbows and arcs of coloured light. It's been really interesting to spend some time here just looking and listening to what's happening around me. And a number of things strike me as being of interest. I was just sheltering from the wind. I dropped down behind some rock steps to get out of the wind, and what became really apparent was the sea was making an incredible noise, and not just the sort of white noise and the hiss of the surf, but this really low, deep bass rumble. It's like a distant waterfall or even thunder, but it ebbs and flows in a very different way, and occasionally there's a kind of a loud bang as waves must be hitting the base of the cliffs nearby. There's a whole number of elements that come together in my mind on a coastline like this. The rocks, particularly in the northeast of Scotland, these laminated flagstones create this incredible sense of structure. They're very architectural, and they form features through the geology like sea stacks and fissures, which have become blowholes through which you can hear, and in rough weather, see seawater emerging. And it's really like the reverse of what you'd expect water to do, which is to flow downhill. It's actually flying up into the sky. And I can't help but think, what would the people who built and used monuments thousands of years ago have thought about places like this? For them, might these places even have been alive with supernatural forces? This strikes me as being a very at the edge place, quite literally. It's at the edge of the world, it's at the edge in terms of the kinds of experiences that it affords. Things happen differently here to how they work in other parts of the landscape. So I think this is where I'm going to end my video about this visit to the cliffs near Scrabster. It's been a dramatic afternoon weather-wise, but I've been able to make lots of observations which have been really interesting. And I think it just goes to show that it doesn't matter what the weather is like. I mean, it's pretty cold, it's been quite wet at times, it's incredibly windy. It's just spectacular to be here, to make all these observations about this place. And in the longer term, I think this will help me to think about how these landscapes fit into a broader pattern of landscape across the north of Scotland and further afield, but also ultimately how these kinds of places create experiences which can also be relevant to the archaeology that I do. It's an entirely natural place, but it has resonances, and for me that's perhaps one of the most fascinating aspects of all. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to stay up to date with my ongoing archaeological adventures.